week, it's going to be a bit different. We start in the bottom left-hand side with our boys Udwin and Defmic. They come as team underdogs here, and we have the only undead player on the map, Defmic. He's going to be playing the Wraith hero, and we do have a Paladin coming out of Udwin. I'm just very quickly, guys, going to just turn my mouse. This happens every time. At the moment, it just keeps... There we go. Invert the drag scroll. Otherwise, I'm going to be taking us the wrong way every time I try and drag us somewhere. So we've got Undead Human in the bottom left for Team Underdog, and on the bottom right side of Echo Glades, our first map for the night, we have the teal human and the purple human. Wurst mit Brot, sausage with bread. I mean, what more could you ask for? And Kayran. So they're both playing the human race house Rupar, and they are going to go for a ranger and a fire mage. And sorry, I actually said Udwin was playing the paladin. He's not. He's playing the ranger as well. He swapped at the last moment there. Okay, so the ranger is actually something we didn't see last week. So I'm just going to quickly recap. Last week we saw the Wraith used quite a bit. It has a lot of damaging abilities. Its counterpart on the human side is the Spark Mage, which we saw a little bit of last week as well. And I'm sure we're going to be seeing a bit more of this week too, as you see it already spawning out. The character we haven't seen, the hero we haven't seen that is going to be visible here, is going to be this Ranger. I really liked the Ranger when I was trying out the human race a lot because they felt like you could get a lot of... It felt like the damage was high. Like, really high. So, that was very interesting. Ooh, look at this. The guys are going down the bottom. We're looking for a little bit of early aggression here. This is not something we had last week, as we're going to see the players coming in. And, wow, look at this. I mean, we have Harpeye just backing off already. Now, this is going to be interesting because we have no units early game on the bottom left-hand side, but we do have some spearmen coming in to tank a little bit, which means that Defmic is taking the brunt of the damage on this side. Now we see a white coming in from Defmic as well, but he's already lost his hero. That's a good bit of XP gained by Harpeye, and it is going to be Udwin who has to back away from this. A good defense here on the bottom right-hand side as Versmith, Brot, and Kayran are both able to turn that around. They defend their creep camp as well, and they obviously get the bonus experience from being able to pick up that early kill on Defmic's level 1 Wraith. So that's a nice little win right there. The early ability here chosen by the Fire Mage is the Fireball, and we saw that dropping down to deal a little bit of AoE damage across the two heroes on the other side. Now, having lost a character over here, we are going to see some counter-aggression. So first bit, Brot and Kayran, they're going to go for this. And we are going to see, well, that is a big connection on the Horrid Decay, one of the abilities off of the right. And that's what we kind of just didn't see beforehand, that ability really connecting. And in the end, we are going to have our players able to kind of defend their own creep camps, although Defmic is behind on experience because he died with his hero, so he's going to be leveling just that little bit slower, and Kayran and Versmith Brotier will end up just that little bit further ahead. And it really was just the difference of, right from the start, we had a couple of units there for these guys who were able to really get a lot done. Of course, now Kayran is pretty low HP, and he will slowly regenerate. There is a heal and well on the map, but it's going to be defended by creeps initially. And there is, of course, the ability to build healer kind of units. But we haven't really seen much of those just yet. So you have a quick look at the production and see what is going on at the moment. Looks like Udwin is just building up into some Pathfinders. So the Pathfinders are very interesting units. They come off of the Elven Enclave, like, allows them to come out from the barracks. So he's teched up into this. We're having Pathfinders actually on both sides of the map, while we actually have one of our players here, Versmith Brot, is only just going up into his Elven Conclave, so he was a little bit slower, but he has expanded early, so a fast expansion. Versmith Brot really looking to take the economy in the early stages, and I feel like he can absolutely do that. Both, pretty much everyone from the human race is on the Elven Conclave, so everyone is just looking towards being at that stage right now where we're going to be able to go into basically like Pathfinders, which are those range units. They have pierce attacks, so they do very well against units that are, light units, and so on and so forth. As you do see, the healing well up here is going to be healing Kayran up, so they did clean out these creeps, and I mean, you can see the level 2, 113 out of 150. Compared on this side, well, actually, we have had some catch-up over here. Oh, wow, that's actually been a little bit more than I expected. So I guess that's just because they hit this creep camp on the left, and maybe that's a bit more experience than the creep camp that was up here. Well, that healing has gone down. If we look at the unit count at the moment here, get a little idea of what's going on. We are mostly on Pathfinders and these Wraiths as well. So these Wraiths, or say Wraiths, right, Whites, are actually pretty just standard melee units. Normal attacks, heavy armor. They're pretty good against Pathfinders on the other side because they have that heavy armor that the PS attacks just don't do as much against. So both players just taking, or both teams kind of just taking turns healing up on that healing well up on the top side. And as you will see, Hoteye, though, taking the watchtower, the observatory in the middle, so we'll get a lot of vision to work with here. So that's obviously pretty interesting. We now have the Mausoleum, so an expansion coming up from our Undead player, and we have Udwin also expanding up to the top side. So they're going to be on 4 bases across the team soon. It looks like that's probably the plan over here shortly as well. Just going to go have a quick look back and see what else is coming up right now. So first of all, Udwin over here is getting an upgrade. He's getting the Spirit Hound, so it's going to have animal companions just actually join the Pathfinders. We didn't see much of Pathfinders last week as he goes into a second racks. We actually saw a lot of just straight up... last week we just saw a lot of straight up kind of straight to night play. We saw a lot of flame skulls from undead players. Our undead player here today has just gone triple desecrated battleground, which means that we actually just have all of the we're just getting whites going on basically. So those basic melee units. Very interesting indeed. Now we actually have as well the choices of the early kind of choices that you make in terms of are you playing DPS or tank, and it is going to be tank on the on our undead character down here, which is interesting because last week we saw the undead being used as the DPS character each time, and we also have a DPS from Udwin, and over here we have DPS and also double DPS actually. So these guys really are looking to fire. They're really looking to deal quite a lot of damage here. By the way, the Pathfinders over on the right-hand side from Hoteye are actually that little bit better. They've got the Stormseeker Arrows upgrade, which allows the attacks basically to hit a second target. So they will be putting out some more damage here if we have a fight starting up. And we are going to be seeing a Floating Gardens from Karen. We didn't see this at all last week either. We saw completely different tech paths. And the Floating Gardens will open up the choice of the Djinni. The Djinni. I'm going to have to double-check some of these name pronunciations. It's hard to do when you're kind of speaking fast as well. Oh my god, that Horrid Decay was awful for Hoteye. That was bad. Now we have a Fear coming down as well. Oh my god. Underdogs killing it when it comes to the team fight at the moment. That was a really, really good fiery change to lock them in position to stop them chasing over this bridge. But Harpy have taken a really bad fight, and they are struggling a little bit. These normal whites in the front are doing pretty well. And like I said, they do very well against the Pathfinders. And this is the difference right now. This pure DPS comp just isn't working out, especially after you just took so much AoE damage. So actually, we see First Mate Broad having to run away down to the bottom right-hand side. He's off and away, and oh my god, I mean... Well, this is kind of a shame, because I was really excited to see something coming out of this temple. We just didn't see a temple at all last week. So... I was really excited to see something out of there. Will we be able to get there? That kind of remains to be seen now. Versmate Brot is actually up on a temple as well, but hasn't actually teched beyond the temple. So is able to make the cleric, I believe, right away, which is the kind of the healing unit. We haven't seen any of those added in just yet. Versmate Brot also going to invest in towards the additional damage output on the Pathfinders and the Djinnis, so really going into a very DPS-heavy comp, but they need to find a way through the front line of their opponents here, because if they don't, it's going to be pretty brutal. We have quite a few whites left over, and the Pathfinders, if they stay behind the whites and stay out of AoE, we are absolutely going to be able to see, them able to just sit back and deal some good damage here, as creeps on the high ground seem to be a bit much at the moment. We do have Udwin making a play over to the right-hand side. There is no base here, and that is something to keep in mind as well, that now we have, Team Underdogs on 2 bases each, while on the right-hand side of the map, there is, only 3 bases between the team. We have not seen Karen take an expansion at all just yet, so that's pretty good so far. So we're going to be seeing a army here from Deathmech coming down toward the bottom. A little bit of a push. This is a choke point, though. I mean, this is the sort of area where the, splash damage should go well. And, trust me, the Ranger has a lot of splash damage. Big Fireball actually hits pretty nicely to start off with. Nice fiery change. Stops the whites in position, so they can't do much. But Karen's units are caught up in a little bit of trouble over there. Djinni is looking to try and get some casts off. It does have a couple of abilities. Thunder Wave does some AoE and pushback, and can also shield units as well. But it's been taken down. That's one of the more expensive units that have just gone down. A new one has just popped out. There it is, ready to join the battle. As we're going to be seeing Udwin and Defmic just sitting back still in this pretty basic set of units. We're not really teched up at all to go anywhere here, so this is maybe the problem, right? As the game goes on, if these guys don't win on this set of units, we have got a better set of tech units on the bottom right-hand side that could absolutely come through and pull Harpy back into the game. So just going to be seeing Whites and Rangers backing away there. I do see... I actually don't know what that ability was. I've never heard that cast before, I'm not going to lie. What's the win conditions? A question in the chat from Erigalis. If you destroy your opponent's base, so typically if you defeat your opponent's army and then they can't get enough army up in time to defend their base after that, that's basically the win condition. So the straight up win condition is just killing all your opponent's buildings, but usually the game ends before then because the other team will say, well, we can't defend our buildings, we're not going to stay in the game and, you know, wait until you guys literally kill everything, because that's just wasting everybody's time. So obviously, I mean, you can absolutely lose fights and come back in the game with future fights, etc. So yeah, there's a lot. Obviously, I mean, you can win because you have better economy, which means you just overwhelm. You can take better fights, which means you just have more army in the end. They all lead to that same end condition of just taking down all of the bases. Well, we do see armies moving through the top side. It definitely has been Team Underdog who have been on the aggressive side so far. But I gotta say, you know, these mines were taken pretty early. This one was, and that one's mined out. The other couple have a bit more left on them at the moment still, so they're still doing okay. Kieran's actually having to expand right now, because if he doesn't expand, he's actually in trouble, because the Pathfinders are going to get this base. Now, losing this base is really bad for him, because he needs an expansion, otherwise he's not going to be able to get any more money, so he's just stuck on what he has. Nice fiery chains will catch the Pathfinders. A fireball lands on the Pathfinders as well from the Spark Mage. And this fight's going to break out once again. A fear to push a few of the units back coming in off the white, and now we're going to be seeing Udwin still trying to push forwards here. His Ranger is on very low health, so both the characters on very low HP here, having to back away. There's still a lot of Whites fighting, but the problem is if these Whites are just fighting on their own, it could be troubling. The Ranger here from Kieran is a little bit stuck. The Whites are really surrounding on the bottom side. That's a big Horror Decay as well, and there is the Ranger on the last hit, and the Wraith gets it. And now Defmic hits level 6, so he's going to be able to get his ultimate ability, which is going to allow him to power up an ability and make it that much stronger. Here we go, chasing down First Mid Broad, who is having to back away over to the right-hand side. Trying to run away out of here at the moment, as we're going to be seeing. Well, again, Wraiths just continue to press forwards. Pathfinder's coming in as well. I love the Wraiths, by the way. I love that their swords just drag along the ground and leave these marks. Like, no one leaves footprints or anything, but the Wraiths are just like, we've been here. Wraiths are on top of the base of Kieran. He doesn't really have anything. Remember, he mined out of his base, so he doesn't really have any money left over. So Kieran's in a lot of trouble. Versmith Broad is struggling to get back into it as well. Looks like he's lost out his workers on this bottom side, and so he is in some trouble. In the end, actually, Udwin did lose out on his Ranger, but at the moment, it feels like Defmic might just be able to take this. Oh, ho, ho, big shot coming in from the Ranger right there. The Ranger does have some very big damaging abilities, and that's the Spark Mage's ultimate. The big cast of Ember Storm does a lot of AoE damage, but is it enough right now? These Pathfinders are looking to kill off the Ranger of Kieran once more. It seems to be a disaster. It will go down, and Versmith Bro is struggling, kiting away, trying to get rid of a couple of Wraiths at the front. Struggling and trying, but I mean, now this is obviously problematic, because we've got Wraiths and Pathfinders on the base. The Temple's going down. I mean, the Keep... There's nothing that can be made anyways, right? These guys are trying to repair up the Keep while they go. One of the abilities of the human race is they can repair their buildings. Zombie race, their kind of mechanic is that they actually get to spawn zombies which help you either mine or defend over a period of time, depending on which choice you make there. As both the heroes are back at home right now. Defmic hanging out over here. It looks like they're focusing on just dealing as much damage as they can. Actually, Udwin's back over here. Sorry, I thought that was actually Kieran's Ranger. Udwin is just continuing to do so much damage. I mean, that's the problem. It's just Harpy can't get on their feet at all. These Wraiths are actually just... Sorry, I keep calling the Whites Wraiths and the Wraiths Whites. The Whites are just going to run back away, as we're going to be seeing a little bit of a fight again. Oh my god. Again, the casts from the Ranger are so powerful here, but the Pathfinders on the bottom side will come in. The extra damage is big. It's a Ranger for a Ranger. I mean, at the end of the day, I think that's pretty fine for underdogs, because the underdogs are absolutely still controlling the game, right? They're absolutely feeling good about this still. Yeah, listen, the Ranger has some really big abilities. We didn't talk about the Ranger's ability. It has a burst shot which damages, splits up to 3 targets in an area, by the way. Nice Horror Decay kills the worker line. That was empowered as well. So actually, the Undead Race, let me just quickly talk about what happened there. The Wraith has an ability which is called the Death Blossom. And the Horror Decay is another ability. So the Horror Decay puts down a seed and it pops into a damage over time area. Now, the Death Blossom damages in a line, so if you hit that seed, it actually blows up the seed and it creates a bigger area. And of course, if you use the ultimate as well, it just becomes even more powerful. And that's just a cleanup of the mineral line. The worker count is pretty much gone here, actually. I mean, is there even workers left? There is. Yeah, there's a couple, but not really much at all, right? There really isn't. So, pretty tough right now. In fact, there's actually only one worker up for first mid Brot. And the rest of the workers are just Kieran's long distance mining, but obviously this isn't his base, so yes, the long distance from over here, it's not pretty at all. We'll talk a bit more about the Ranger's abilities, just as we watch kind of the dying moments of this game, I think. The burst shot to 3 targets. Relentless Hunter means you can set a target to damage increase, and will reduce the speed of that target as well. You have a dash, which increases your speed. And there is a final ultimate ability called Monster's Bane, which is an explosive bolt, which does a damage and a knockback, and that's what the big chunk of damage from the Ranger was previously. Well, this Deathmech again just hits, you can see this Death Blossom is obviously much, sorry, not Death Blossom, Horror Decay is much smaller, and not as effective. That's just because it wasn't powered up and comboed, like we talked about previously. Edwin is trying to take a fight on the top. He's going 1v2. This is not a fight he should win. He doesn't even have many supporting units, so he's in a little bit of trouble there. I tell you what, where are we actually at right now in terms of production and units? There's not a lot left from Udwin. He only has 5 Pathfinders as well as his hero. 8 Pathfinders from first mid Brot. Kieran has absolutely nothing, by the way, just workers and his hero. So really the main army is going to be with Deathmech at the moment. I feel like what's just happened is that this is a very small map. There's only 4 bases between the two, between each team. So each player gets an extra base each. We're getting to the point of actually this map being mined out, and the next map I feel is actually my preferred map, the map we're going to see for game number 2, because it is just a lot larger, and I feel like it gives you a lot of abilities. And that's maybe why we've seen these guys try and fight on just very low economies and very low kind of tech units. Remember that this base has not been mined at all, so if Harvey were able to actually mine from that, that would be so much better for them. That would do, that would do them a huge favor here. As we're going to be seeing the units here from Udwin pressing across, Deathmech as well. Pressing over the right-hand side at the moment. We still do have a little bit of an army here. I mean, it is really Versmith Brot's units. He's got a couple of clerics mixed in. The clerics we've not really seen too much before now either. So just give you guys a quick little bit of information on the clerics. The clerics are basically healers. They have an ability called Flame of Life, which can heal. And they are able to also gain detection when you upgrade. You can get restoration, which dispels positive or negative effects, depending if you're targeting some other bits and pieces. And there's also an upgrade called Battlefield Triage, which increases the healing done by clerics. I don't believe we have any of those abilities active currently on the clerics. And I think that's probably just a case of he, never really was time to get those upgrades, because this got pretty aggressive pretty early on. And yeah, it felt like Underdogs just got set up and started running away with the game. Ooh, a little bit buggy there for Deathmech's hero. Obviously, guys, the game is in technical alpha still, so not even in beta. Still the very early stages of, not very early stages, but still early development of the game. And now going to be little bugs and bits and pieces here and there. In the end, doesn't seem to affect too much. Great Ember Stormfire, the Fire Mage. I mean, if Versmith Brot's going to carry this, it's exactly what he needs to do. He pulls out the AoE on the top side. They are going to get the Ranger here. Big Fear coming in from Deathmech, that dreadful presence, pushing the units back. And now Versmith Brot, he's just lost too much health. He doesn't have what he needs any longer. And I mean, it is just Deathmech versus Versmith Brot here. And as this Spark Mage goes down, the Wraith will reign supreme. And the last few units will continue to fall. I mean, this base is going down. I mean, we already talked about the fact that this base needs to mine. The fact they didn't mine from this at all is actually so concerning, because that's basically why they've not been able to afford enough continuing on in this. It looks as though Deathmech will be able to just continue knocking down this keep. And again, as that keep goes down, I believe this is really the dying moments of the game. First mate rode a high ground Pathfinder there is not going to do well. I think that got knocked up there, actually. I didn't know anything could get up in that little area. Well, I mean, we're really in a position where Deathmake just continues to push down into the bottom right. And again, if you look at the units tab, there is nothing left. Karen's not had units for a long time, only his hero. There is a cleric, there is a spearman, a couple of pathfinders left over. And I believe one of these pathfinders, yeah, has a spirit hound as well. He looks like a good little doggo. Is he going to be able to save the game for Harpy? I would not really think so, though. As much as I want to believe in the ability, it doesn't seem like it's going to be the case at all, as we're going to be seeing. I mean, Karen's main base is under attack once again. He's really trying to stay in this until the very end. Big Ember Storm drops down on top of the Wraiths. I mean, that's how bad this is, right? The Wraiths are literally on top of everything else. I kind of thought for a moment that Versmith Brute was attacking his own units. That's how bad a situation this is. It is really, really tough right now as we see the Pathfinders continuing up to the top side. This keep is in a lot of trouble. Looks as though it will be going down. As you do see, that's really nice. The ability there, that was the range ability we talked about, the Relentless Hunter, which increases your damage on the target and reduces the speed of the target. GG well played is called as the Spark Mage goes down. GG on both sides, and we have got our victors for the day, which is Deathmake. Well, not for the day, for game number 1 of the day, Deathmake and Udwin for Team Udwin. A Paladin being picked early on, so yeah, let's see how this turns out. The initial heroes here, just to quickly run through them. As we actually we have 2 undeads on each side as well, so we're going to change it up completely. Okay, on the top side of the map, good luck, have fun to the teams. Versmith Bro will switch to Undead, and we'll play the Wraith. Where over here, Karen is going to make the same plays. He's going to go for the Ranger early game. Once again, or I say early game, for the game. And on the other side of the map, Deathmake is going to stick with his Wraith on the Undead team. And it's the Paladin coming out from Udwin here that's going to be different. So we actually see a different setup. So last time, Deathmake played the tank, and now he's playing damage, which again gives you some, as Undead, basically it means certain units do damage over time abilities. Basically now for certain units from the tank side of the human race, certain units will take less damage. So Knights are a very popular choice to go into once you've chosen tank right here, because they can be that kind of frontline, heavy defensive unit. We'll see how our players are going to go about this and see how they're going to go about trying to set up into this as we get through the early game here. Desecrated Battleground dropping down, very simple building structure. The barracks is coming out. An early Spearman here from Udwin. This is the kind of map where we can't really see much early aggression, and I love it. Versmith Broad is absolutely playing to the map right now. This expansion over on the left-hand side, going to take it early, get that economy up, because again, the map is so much larger. You're not going to have early encounters like how we saw in game number 1, where we saw a lot of congestion over the initial creep camps. Guys, I'm just going to have to very quickly change my mouse again. I have to restart the game between games at the moment, and when I do that, the mouse setting resets. Like I said, technical alpha, it doesn't matter to you guys. Just nice to be able to observe it the way I'm expecting to observe it is. The creep phase will begin here, so the Spearman going to have that bonus kind of tanky damage, and that's why Deathmake is just letting this get in front. Second Spearman on the way over as well. There is the Arcane Nexus, so we never saw the Undead player going beyond the Desecrated Battleground last game. In fact, Deathmake just went up to triple Desecrated Battleground. So this time around, the Arcane Nexus is going to be your tier 2 tech structure that is, it just absolutely has to come down after the Desecrated Battleground to go anywhere else. And it opens up 2 different tech choices. The Corrupted Spire Shard, which will open up access to Banshees and Shadows. Or the Boneyard, which can lead into the Labyrinth, which then opens up into the Naga Deathbound we saw a bit of last week, and Minotaur Skeletons. He might just stick on the Arcane Nexus and go into Flame Skulls, which is kind of the Pathfinder equivalent. There's Versmith Broke, by the way, using the mechanic that comes with the Undead, that you can spawn basically a set of zombies every so often, and these guys are going to help you mine. Basically, they make one trip to the trees, they get the wood, return it, and that's it. They don't live long enough to make a second trip there and back, so best to then send them off to die at that point without too much else happening. As the creeping just continues at the moment, we see the Horrid Decay being used to help just kind of burst through this nice and quickly. And again, Spearman in the front. Didn't talk actually too much about early choices over here, so it is a tanky Undead on this side and a damaging Ranger as well, damaging human race. So Yeah, again, going kind of tank over here. Tank with the Wraith is interesting because the Wraith, I feel, is typically a very damage-focused character. So it does feel quite interesting to go tank. I do wonder what the choice may be there. As we see, Arcane Nexus only just coming up over here now. Did we have continued tech over here? No, it's just the Arcane Nexus into the Pathfinder. Arcane Nexus is going to upgrade Sleeping Corruption, which basically just increases the damage over time ability of Flame Skulls and other units. Basically because he's playing the damage here. And what else do we have upgraded? Not really too much just yet. Just Spearman being made still. Elven Enclave is up, so that is where you can now go in towards the stables if you would like to. The stables would be a pretty nice way to move in towards, again, that kind of tanky front line with the knights. So we shall see. We do have Versmith Broad is getting an upgrade as well. And he's going to get the life drain, so that's the whites that are able to raise skeletons from units that they kill for a little while. So he's kind of playing how we saw the last game being played. So again, very interesting to see the undead being played as kind of tanky characters this week, when last week that really was left to the human race. A little bit of a fight breaking out just with a few of these creeps out in the map. So again, a lot of creeping up at the moment. Remember, this base up here so early in the game, a lot of extra mining. And again, those zombies, when they get a chance to go mine some trees, a little bonus as well. So that's obviously a big help. When you consider that, you know, they're just mining so much faster. Actually, these zombies are off and away. Are they the fighting ones? Maybe you summoned the wrong ones to go and fight. It would be nice to obviously pick up some more trees. Well, the game goes on for the moment without too much crazy really happening just yet. Obviously just creeping up, and big difference in the early game with that tech in towards a mausoleum on that top side. No further tech really being built. There's the stable. So like I said, the knights, absolutely a strong choice. We do have Udwin on the expansion over here, actually. So this expansion is up and running at the moment. And we have seen Deathmick expanding on the bottom side. So they're actually leaving this sort of area over here for now. This base is kind of hard to get into, but once you get there, it's very well defended as well. Very centralized. Observer Tower going to be taken for a moment. Given a bit more vision, it is going to be Harpy who are out on the map and looking for perhaps a way to take a bit of a fight. You can see Deathmech has actually just gone in towards those Flame Skulls, which, like I said, is kind of like an expected sort of investment at this sort of stage. All-time magic upgraded for them means that when they die, they explode for some bonus damage. Yeah, this is kind of very similar to what we saw the Undead playing last week, so that's pretty cool. As we see, again, at the moment, just whites basically out of First Mid-Brot. He has teched into a Boneyard, and he's going Labyrinth, though. So the Boneyard does let you build right away, the Naga Deathbound, but the Labyrinth unlocks the Minotaur Skeletons. We have not seen a lot of them, and he is playing the tanky Undead. So that's kind of like the better version of whites that we've not, you know, Minotaur Skeletons are basically like kind of knights of the Undead, basically. So we're going to have tanky front lines on either side, a bit of poking damage at the moment as the players look around. If we look at levels, we're almost at level 4 on Team Underdogs. We actually already are level 4 over on Harpeyes, so that's pretty nice. Where's our Ranger mixed in there as well? Yeah, he's already level 4 too, so we have got a level advantage from the upper right side. We have a little bit of a fight, looking to position on this central position too. Tell you what, this is the sort of moment where I feel like a couple of units down here, for example, we haven't seen a lot of this yet, like players using like counterattacks elsewhere. A couple units down to the bottom feels like they could do a lot right now. Just shut down this base from mining, etc. That feels pretty big. Players have expanded into the center, by the way. It's going to be where Kieran is setting up his base. Fight is going to start up over here. Big Horror Decay. It's a lot of those Pathfinders, and they take a lot of damage right away. And now another Horror Decay coming down on the other side. It just feels like there's so many more units up here. Initially for kind of the underdogs, but now maybe not so much, as we're going to be seeing the Paladin ability to protect those units. This ability from the Paladin, we haven't seen a Paladin today. It's kind of constant, it shields units for a while. It creates a shield on the Paladin, and it concentrates damage to the Paladin. So basically it makes the Paladin tank the damage coming in. It was actually pretty crazy there, because I actually didn't feel like Harpy had much, but it's because the whites were already up on top of the other units there. So that went pretty well. Unit still pressing around again. This keep is up and running. So after a little bit of a skirmish, where are we at? Udwin is going into the upgrade, which will increase his Knights and Spearmen damage taken, so reduces that damage taken further. He is starting to get his first Knights on the map. On the other side, we have Pathfinders looking to come across and reinforce. We did go up into that labyrinth, and we are starting to see the first Minotaur skeletons coming out onto the map. I mean, the Minotaur skeletons with a lot of the wights in front, it means that the Flame Skulls really don't do much. I would love to see a bit of a switch here, because we haven't really seen Deathmech teching up past the Arcane Nexus yet. I would love to see him throw down the Corrupted Spire Shard. So while we've seen the Boneyard and the Labyrinth on this side, a Corrupted Spire Shard will open access to Banshees and Shadows, and they are both magic users, and they will really help to wipe out that front line, while you still have your own front line looking good with those Knights, because there isn't really any magic. I mean, this goes for both teams. Neither of them are really investing into any sort of magic damage at the moment, and I feel like that could be kind of costly if you're not careful. So, yeah, I would like to maybe see that a little bit more here as we continue to set up. Just a few more upgrades coming into play. More Flame Skulls on the way out. And players are just going to go back to creeping for the moment. Not going to go back towards too much else just yet. It's going to take the Observer Tower on the bottom right-hand side. And another expansion coming up here. I do love how fast Harpy are expanding. They've just got so much coming in. You can see, look at the supplies. Versmith Bro, 61 supply. Next closest is his teammate on, Udwin on 47, not his teammate. And then versus like 49, and I mean, he's just so far ahead. His macro is insane. It's just the power of getting this expansion up so early in the game, although he has mined out over here, so that's why he needs to start getting into other bases. And just a few creeps over there that will turn to fight. And these guys still positioning, really looking for the first big fight of this game. We saw a little one breaking out before, but nothing too crazy. First went Brot. He's investing into just the mausoleum there. There's another Minotaur skeleton. Again, big tanky goo dudes. They got those big axes to go and whack some things with. And just very tanky front line at the moment. And again, that's what I'm very worried about. I love this front line. And I look at the front line of the other team and I'm like, well, I guess you got Knights. It just doesn't feel like there's as much there, right? Because there's only like 3 or 4 Knights. Whereas on the other side, there's multiple Minotaur skeletons. There's multiple wights as well from earlier in the game. So it feels like when those tanky frontliners go down, we're very quickly going to get into some trouble over here. Already seen the Pathfinders able to get some damage. That's where the Knights want to get in front to tank. The Flame Skulls will be some of the big damage dealers in this fight from Team Underdog on the bottom left. I mean, Harpy are absolutely looking to fight this. If they get a couple of kills, I mean, they are almost level 6. If they get a couple of kills, that creeping and that killing has been so effective this game. They have so much more. If they can just take a fight, this could be huge. Skeletons summoned to help. That comes off the mausoleum. Skeletons to help tank a little bit at the front to start. There is going to be a hard decay coming up on either side. Both players are just going to end up, or both teams are going to end up disengaging from this centralized point. Again, the Knights trying to get in front. The Flame Skulls trying to stay behind. Here we go. Breaking out into a bit of a fight again. This is what I mean, you know, if we see this kind of heavy front, I imagine there was just some magic users to break that down that little bit faster. There are so many of these tanky units here. It feels like you need something to really get through that. Just going to see the Flame Skulls firing away. Getting a few shots off. And the players will both disengage again. I kind of like the idea from Harpy, though. I mean, they're so close to a level up. Maybe they want to... Here's what they could do. If they level up on this bottom right-hand side, if they level up here and then go for the fight again, that could be pretty good for them. That could be pretty sick as we have this army still chilling out. Watchtower is going to be taken over. We're going to be losing out on that in a second. Any second now. There we go, it does fall. Army down to the bottom. Versmith Brot Alright, this is a little bit troubling because now they're going to lose this base, and if Defmec loses this base, that is absolutely problematic. So Skeletons brought up to defend initially. They are going to come in from the top, so they might be able to... I love this. The Pathfinders have found a way to a position where they can... Look at this. So the melee units are basically getting themselves in between the Pathfinders. The Pathfinders turning around there, and here we go. The ability start coming down. The Paladin in the front is going to look to try and tank a lot. And there is the damage being reconstructed to the Paladin, but it just means the Paladin gets nuked because there's so much damage output. First Bit Bro is stuck in the corner, will go down, but they've also gotten rid of the Wraith on the other side, and so Udwin is looking good to continue fighting. I mean, this is just a brawl of a mass of units. Udwin is somewhere in the mix of all of this. His Ranger, there it is, sorry, not Udwin, Karen on the midst of all of this on the bottom side is just about hanging in there, and these armies are just going at each other. First Bit Bro, I mean, there's not a lot of abilities to be cast, it's just that hero, and that should help to tilt the fight a little bit. There's a lot of the melee units on both sides still fighting here. The Pathfinders trying to stay out of trouble. The Knights, again, they take reduced damage from the Pathfinders. Problem is, it's only Knights left over, and there's Minotaur Skeletons. There's the Whites in there. The Knights just aren't going anywhere, and they're not really dealing damage to anything important. The Pathfinders are staying up, and so while they do reduce damage to the heavy armored Knights, they are still able to push on through, and we're going to see this base is going to be taken over. Big fight, big win for Harpy, and they are down a game in this series. We might have a first ever Game 3 in the Year of Rain Undead Champs. It could happen. I'm actually really feeling like the level of play tonight is actually a little bit stronger than it was last week. Which is very interesting because actually we, last week, I feel like we had the teams that were expected to be the better teams going into this tournament. Because they were the two teams that had, again, like fairly decently known StarCraft players on them. You know, meant to be RTS gods. Well, apparently not. Supplies come out of this with about a 98 combined supply on the top right versus a combined supply of 55 on the bottom left. We are in trouble. If you're supporting that bottom left, we do see Karen is making the move in towards the floating gardens again. This is what I feel is needed to get rid of that front line just that bit more easily. Get some, you know, spellcasters up. Get some magic users. Paladin Cast Lay on Hands does heal up the Knight in the front, so again, that's an ability from the Paladin hero. I mean, the other crazy thing is we're now talking about a level 8 Ranger and a level 6 Wraith taking on a level 5 Paladin and a level 5 Wraith. They don't even have their ultimate abilities yet, and while they're not too far off of their ultimate abilities, the next fight will break out without them having those, so they will have to wait for that still for a little while. They might make a play on the boss in the middle. If they can kill off this boss and get the buff, maybe there's a way to do something here, as we do see. It's just a bit too much. Defmec just doesn't really have much to help him out. Meanwhile, these armies are moving over to take down the bases. You see the defensive tower going down. Udwin's base trying to be repaired. Some of these units pulling back up to the top, and Udwin, Defmec, looking to see where they can go. There you go. That's going to be the Horrid Decay coming down. Oh, the empowered Horrid Decay on the other side, though. I mean, that's just the difference of having your ultimate. That's literally the difference of the ultimate. And as we see the Ranger chasing down, he has pretty low HP, chasing away Defmec, who still hasn't hit level 6. It is absolutely brutal over in this fight. Udwin has already lost the Paladin as well. These Knights are in trouble. I mean, they're chasing, but they will eventually go down. The Ranger just trying to stay out of there. There's no healing units in play at the moment. Investment Bro continues to produce more Minotaur Skeletons. Karen, I love it, is getting in towards the first Ginny, and Defmec's just going to type out GG. And we have ourselves a Game 3! Hell yeah, I love this so far. I'm just excited because between games 1 and... Alright. So we're back to the first map. Double Undead in the bottom left-hand side. Our heroes being played are going to be double Wraith. Wow, so they're both going to go double Wraith. So there's nothing to stop you playing the same hero on the same team. At the moment, that is allowed. And are they just both going to go double? Okay, we've got a tank and we've got damage. So it feels like maybe we have the same idea as last time, only maybe they just go like Flame Skull White and just go to push. On the other side, it's double human. We have a Spark Mage who is going to be on the side of Versmith Broad, who is playing tank though, and the damaging Ranger. So Karen's sticking to the Ranger game in and game out. The Spark Mage was very popular last week. has a lot of control, the Spark Mage. A fire elemental summon, a fiery chains root, and then you have fireball AoE, so you can really get some good combos up with the fiery chains root and units in position. And the ultimate of the Spark Mage really feels extremely powerful with the Vortex, which kind of AoEs, pulls enemies in. Feels very powerful, the Spark Mage, and it absolutely was the choice last week. As Edwin early on just getting himself his first white up and running. We're going to see a Spearman. And actually, Deathmech is going to go into a white as well. So both players are going to open with a white here. Really just looking for the production to see whether we're going to be having a kind of like yeah, I think like an Arcane Nexus, right? Because it feels like Udwin, like I said, I really feel like the Flame Skulls are probably his go-to. And like I said, like last time we had like a very early game kind of damage set, kind of very early game kind of aggression. But they really played aggressively on low-tech units. They never really teched up bar. I imagine they might try and do this with Double Undead. They are once again going to try and contest these creeps. And we've seen there is the Seed, which will blow up into the Horrid Decay. So they're looking to try and get the steal on some of these creeps right now. It's going to be a real fight going on. I mean, who gets the hits? It is over on the right-hand side. Maybe not throughout, though. And they get rid of one of the Spearmen here. The last hit now goes on the left. Having killed a Spearman as well, it really helps out, and I believe that was the right side that picked up that one. So the XP currently even. These guys are going to continue fighting. The whites in the front are doing a lot. Fireball will hit, though, from the Spark Mage, but now Horrid Decay is up. The last Spearman about to fall, and we still have whites on the table, and the double Wraith pushing forwards. Well, the Ranger should be able to put some good damage out against this. Pierce attacks against a magic user. So the Ranger doing okay there at the moment. We're going to be seeing the Horrid Decay dropping down again. I feel like this was a success story, though, from Deathmech and Udwin, because now they back away. They still have their side of the creeps to clean out, and they've taken down units from the other team, and so they've got the XP advantage. However, they don't have the HP advantage going into another fight. You can see that Versmith Broden, they're definitely thinking about maybe going into this again. They're going to back away, so it's a lot of wasted time to have stuck around down there, but to not have actually done anything about it. It's going to be Versmith Broden to take the expansion just over on that left-hand side. So setting up into that, it does feel like Underdogs are going to be able to get a strong start here in game number 3. Again, tied up 1-1. Very exciting to get ourselves into the third game of this series. Again, didn't happen last week. I had a pretty convincing 2-0, I feel. As the creeps continue to fall. So they will be cleaned out. And Deathmech and Udwin heading up the left-hand side, and just going to be having a few of these nulls to perhaps clean out. Yeah, it's just a game of creeping at the moment. So let's have a look at where we're going. It looks like Versmith Broad is actually teching up to a it's another barracks. Apologies. I thought that was something else. I apologize. You know what? It's the keep that I'm getting myself mistaken with. So yeah, both of them just playing an extra barracks, and then a keep coming up from Versmith Broad as well. Deathmech going into an upgrade over here as well, just upgrading these whites and so on to be a little bit tankier once again. So, and gets the life drain as well, meaning that he is going to be able to, again, raise some skeletons to help him fight when he kills units, which is always great. And there you go, those couple of skeletons, you see those popping out. They only last for 10 seconds or so, but they do soak up that little bit of extra damage, so it really feels very swarmy, right? You know, if you kind of get the bit of momentum, you get the first couple of kills, it starts to go very well for you. Flame Skull is in production for Udwin, so he is just committing into that. And again, it's going to be, again, a tanky front line, a damage dealer in the back. So we've seen Karen and Versmith Broad just continuing to fight away here. I mean, again, it's just that XP advantage from the early fight on the bottom. It really, I mean, just the way the bases are set up and this setup here, it really encourages that. I love Deathmech, by the way, as well. Pops a zombie down on this bottom side. Map vision is so important in all of this, of course, so to keep the zombie down on the bottom and to see if your opponents are coming through that bottom side to hit your base. Because like I said, I really feel what is very underutilized, especially on this map, is just sending a few units around the bottom. If you're positioning around the top, send a few units around the bottom, hit this bottom left, and hit their mineral lines. And I feel like that's one of the big things we're going to see really develop over the course of this tournament as people get better at this game. Attacks down here are going to you know, when we start fighting on the top, it's going to be really become kind of a battle on two different fronts, really. So, Sparkmage drops the fireball to start off the fight. In the top, oh my god, those spearmen are getting absolutely murdered here, though. Good spearmen, what do they do to deserve that? Well, they will be able to clean this up. Problem is, the control of the healing tower, the healing well up here, is going to be in control of Team Underdog. So while they're creeping, they're able to go and heal up all the time. Now, Heartbeat may really want to try and make something like that happen for themselves. In fact, Heartbeat have actually gone back up to an XP lead. They're up to level 4. How did that happen? Did they just kill more units? That's very interesting because we saw a very... there's absolutely a level advantage for Team Underdog before. They've just been creeping like mad. I guess they've cleaned out maybe like an extra creep pack. Very interesting. Deathmech going into the additional upgrade here. Again, just increases the health regen of his units. Builds on that decision to be a tank early on. So now First Mate Broad is building a temple. This is what I thought I saw before. He's actually got a stables, but he's going to go into a temple too. He's got a couple of knights coming forwards here. Actually, so he cleans some creeps on this bottom side. He's got a couple of knights coming forwards, but the temple will maybe open up to clerics to get some healing as well. So again, he's looking for that kind of tank front line. His teammate Karen is going for the kind of the range back line. Man, Karen, on the same thing happened before. This base up here is where he tried to expand to, and it got denied. And as they're creeping in the center, sure, they're picking up XP, but they leave this base exposed, and it looks as though that base is probably going to fall. As we will see, the fight will break out after this, though. There is going to be the Death Blossom and the Horror Decay coming straight through there. Nice fiery chain is going to lock a lot of those whites in position right away as well. Fireball dropping down. Horror Decay on the top side is good. Karen is just going to try and run away with the Ranger. He loses it, though. So his hero goes down. We've got a low white on the top left-hand side, low Wraith on the top left-hand side. But it just does not seem to be enough at the moment from First Mid Broad as he backs away. Man, this double Wraith just has so much damage. The double Horror Decay is really deadly. You can get so much with that. And we're just going to be seeing the couple of Spearmen left behind will go down. Now we're up to level 5 against level 4, so Team Underdog are back in that level advantage. Again, that's double. Like, you can see there's double flowers there, man. Double flower AoE is pretty crazy. Well, backing off. Just felt like Karen's Rangers didn't do much in this fight. Caught in the AoE, taken down too quickly perhaps. And now again, Karen is in that position where he's down a base, he's missing the expansion, and he will not be able to continue onwards like he otherwise would have been. Did you see Deathmech? Yeah. Wraith going back up to the top. Both the Wraiths going to join up at the top there actually, as we will see Vest Midbrot heading out to the left-hand side. So this is really nice because these guys are still hanging around the top. We're going to see some economy damage done here. Like, this could be a dead base from Deathmech perhaps. If these guys don't pull back, they don't have vision on this bottom side. They only have is this single zombie over here, that single worker. Well, they are absolutely going to have to fight. And they're going to have to fight into kind of the predetermined position here as well. So this army coming back down, coming to respond. Already a couple of rights that were up over here will begin to defend. So buys a little bit of time for the rest of the army to show up. First Bit Road is going to back away. Hard Decay doesn't do much. Actually, they will re-engage. The Skeletons coming out to help defend. A big fireball coming in from Versmith Broad as well, who's continuing to try and back off away from this right now. And then you're seeing, oh, that's big actually. That was a good connection on the Terrifying Presence, the Dreadful Presence, fearing away, and another fear coming down. It is going to allow time for the Wraiths to back off, especially the Wraith of Deathmech, which is extremely low. But now the Wraith of Udwin is pretty low as well. They're going to continue getting pushed away to that left-hand side. Versmith Broad still pressing forwards. We have seen the Ranger just have to be a little bit careful. He's pressing forwards, but remember, they are at a level disadvantage. Level 6 is now up, actually. With level 6 up, there is absolutely the potential. Oh, nice again. Fiery Chains followed by the Fireball. There's absolutely the potential of the ultimate, but, I mean, Lady Lorana is extremely low. Having to run away there. Another one on the top side, maybe in some trouble as well. I mean, they can see they're just chasing for the champion kills, and they will get there. The Ranger picks up the first, and Honestly, the second is in some trouble as well, but actually the range is in trouble because there's a lot of other units on top of that. There's the Hunter's target coming down, and he is just gonna not get the kill. Oh my god, Udwin is able to survive it. So close. Karen goes down. Versmith Brot was killed in the kind of a little while ago as well. And we will be starting to respawn those heroes. Bit of a crazy fight. On that bottom left-hand side as Udwin is going to start coming through the bottom side here. So just going to be seeing the Wraith taking the charge at the moment. And this is kind of brave though. I mean, this is a very low HP Wraith. As you see the melee units, the range units pressing forwards. Versmith Brot moving around with the Spark Mage over here. Going to be seeing Horrid Decay coming down. That combination of attacks here to pop cleans out the worker line just like that. You need to be just so wary. If a hero is in your base, you kind of need to know about it before they're casting the ability, right? And that's why it's extremely punishing to have that there and that ability to do so much. It seems very, pretty insane, right? By the way, nice fiery chains, and we are going to see, oh, the fireball to grab the kill. Udwin will go down. The army's still here as well. Is going to be chased away. Is going to have the support of Deathmake in a moment. An empowered Death Blossom into Horrid Decay on the top side. It's big, and it does a lot of AoE. Heartbeat just run through this to continue pushing over to the left-hand side. But yeah, I was just saying, I feel like, when I first look at this kind of worker line getting cleaned out by the ability, I'm like, well, that's OP, right? That's way too good. But at the same time, you've got to be able to keep track of your opponent's heroes, because if you don't keep track of those, and they end up in your base with nothing to kind of protect it, you kind of deserve to take some damage in a way, right? Is the Flower Ring getting bigger as an upgrade? It's the way the ultimate of the Wraith is to be able to empower an ability, so as you upgrade it, it gets a bit bigger, but when it gets big like that, it's just empowered by the ultimate, so it makes it super big, covers a huge area, does extra damage. So it's basically it's just empowered, and the next thing you know, it's all over the place. It seems to be the ability of choice to empower on the Wraith because it's absolutely the main damage deal, and especially when you've got a lot of units, it goes a long way. Deathmake pressing forwards. There's another empowered cast, but doesn't really catch too much. These Flame Skulls backing away. No volatile magic, by the way, on the Flame Skulls, so no ability to go down. And oh my god, the Ranger is a nuking monster! Comes in and just destroys our Deathmake Wraith. The Ranger is actually insane when you let him power up a little bit, man. The Relentless Hunter ability, again, increases the damage on the target and slows your movement speed. If you get caught in that and the Hunter is able to target you, you are in some real trouble. That Wraith just got nuked. Again, just going to be seeing the combo once more. No response. It's so tough. I mean, you gotta remember that is the ultimate cast. And, well, here we go. Maybe the fight over here. We're going to see Karen is just going to get taken down. He gets his Hunter's Mark off a bit too late. It just feels like we're kind of out of units over here at the moment for Versmith Brot and Karen. I mean, they are on 25 and 8 in supply against 62 and 57. Absolutely, again, I mean, it happened, we saw it happening earlier on. There was just too many units coming out of Udwin and Deathmake, and they took some very good fights. And I really feel like in all of these fights, I will say I feel like the undead characters feel a little bit more powerful at the moment. Maybe it's just the way we're seeing them be used, but they definitely feel pretty good at the moment here, as we are going to be seeing. I mean, this is the base of Versmith Brot going down. The other base over here is obviously just in trouble as well. I mean, it feels as though this is kind of going towards the final moments. Versmith Brot has nothing left. GG. Well played. Team Underdogs are going to win their first match in the Undead Champs. Karen isn't ready to give up. He will take down the hero, and then he's going to be dropping out. He just wanted a bit of revenge before the game wrapped up, and Team Underdogs are going to take it down.